Hello, I'm Natasha Chilingarian.
And I'm Michael Ogden. This is Shared Accounts with CU Times, sponsored this month by Boost AI. Curious about how Boost AI can revolutionize your credit union? Don't just wonder, see it in action. Schedule a demo today and experience the future of member engagement firsthand. Visit Boost AI and take the leap. Okay, a couple of days ago, I had the beautiful opportunity to hold a friend's tiny little 3-month-old baby. I gladly held this baby while the new parents talked, had a drink, gave them time to get some things done. It was great. Babies are awesome. It also was kind of a kick in the brain for me at the time, meaning it helped me jolt me out of my own head for a minute and realize just how lovely and simple things can be and probably should be for all of us. But mainly my brain went in this direction. The baby holding experience made me think about all the songs with the word baby in the title. So here are my top 5 baby titled songs. First up, obvious one, Baby Baby by Amy Grant, which I have a story about her later. Baby One More Time, Britney Spears. Okay, fine. Baby I Love Your Way, Peter Frampton. Sure, classic. I Got You Babe, Sonny and Cher. Cool one. But this legit is my favorite titled song with the word baby in it. I'll Be Your Baby Tonight, the Norah Jones version. It was written by Bob Dylan. This version will blow you away. It is such a good song. Anyway, that's what I was thinking. Natasha, producer Zach, do you have any baby thoughts, baby music titles?
Yeah, I was going to say one of my favorites would be
Mm-hmm.
Always Be My Baby by Mariah Carey.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Another one I thought of, which I wouldn't say it's a favorite song of mine, but the Justin Bieber's first hit, which was just called Baby.
Oh, right. Right. You know what? I kind of forget about that dude, that he
Well,
even
I don't blame
exists.
you. I mean, yeah.
Zach, do you have anything to add to the pile?
I'm just trying to figure out if Baby Got Back by Sir
Oh,
Mix-a-Lot is
yes.
inappropriate for this activity.
Oh, probably is. That's
Okay.
a great place to end this. Thanks, Zach. Welcome
Absolutely.
to Shared Accounts with CU Times, baby. Coming up this week, we head out east to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and speak with Adam Stewart, who is VP of Strategic Growth, Marketing, and Relationship Management at Pennsylvania State Employees Credit Union. We call it PSECU. He was great. Adam joins us to break down topics like digital strategies. We have a great chat about AI and Verizon, and his approach to the future of our digital world as it relates to PSECU's members. That is all coming up. Stay tuned. First up, let's bring in Natasha. Hey, Ann.
Hey, Em, how's it going?
It's going okay. Can I tell you my really quick Amy Grant story?
Yes, please. I was going to ask you that if you weren't
Okay.
going to bring it up yourself.
Amy Grant, years and years ago, again, I grew up in Arkansas. She started out as a solo Christian artist. She just
Right.
played guitar, sat on a bar stool thing, just sat on a stool, played guitar. That was it. I saw her when I was in, I think, 5th grade. It was either in Fort Smith, Arkansas, at a little theater, or Ouachita Baptist University in southern Arkansas. I can't remember. Whatever. This was before she got it big, before she went into the pop
Sure. Right.
zone. I met her on stage. I had a really nice conversation.
Oh,
She kissed me on the cheek.
wow.
Yeah.
And how old were you at the time? Like, when was this exactly?
12, maybe?
Oh, okay. I was trying to imagine. I was picturing it happening to you now. I'm just kind of laughing. No, so
12,
you were, oh,
13.
that's so cute though. Yeah.
Who's the most famous person you've ever met? Have we had this conversation?
I think so. I think I did. Yeah. Did I already tell the
I can't
Woody
remember.
Harrelson story? I think on the
Oh,
podcast.
you
I think I did. I
might.
actually interviewed him for a story
Yeah,
for my college newspaper, and then he
right.
came to the school and he was doing some kind of like an electric vehicle or something like a low emissions type of a caravan around the country.
Sure.
I'm totally messing
That
up
was
this story because I don't
100%.
remember, but I just remember he showed up, but he was wearing just like a beanie and like a
Of course.
sweatshirt and he gave me
Yeah.
this big hug. It was so sweet.
Yeah.
So,
You
yeah,
were
that was
you were
probably the most famous that I've actually
were you arrested for possession just by giving him a hug?
No.
All the pot
Well,
that guy smokes?
that would have happened if I'd hugged anyone on that
Oh,
campus,
okay.
probably University of
Just kidding.
Oregon.
Oh, that's funny. Hey, I wanna ask,
Yeah, go ahead.
we haven't talked about this in a bit. What'd you watch this
Yeah.
past week?
Yeah, I watched 2 different horror movies, newer
Ooh,
movies.
okay.
First one was Night Swim.
Oh, that recently came out, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it was this year, earlier this year, and I didn't because I saw it pop up on
Mhm.
streaming channels, but I didn't watch it then, but I ended up watching it on the plane when I took a flight last Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and I for some reason, I really enjoy watching movies on planes. I feel like I
Okay.
can give it more of my full attention as
Uh-huh.
opposed to being at home, I might be distracted by doing something else.
Night Swim.
So, yeah, that was it wasn't too bad. Again, I don't know, for some reason, I'm just not really being blown away by any movie lately,
Mhm.
you know? I want a movie that where I'm gonna be like, "Wow," like, "Whoa, that just blew me away," or it was just so I don't know, like like a horror movie like Silence of the Lambs, where you're just
Mhm.
like, "Whoa," like, you're really impacted by it. So, it was I guess it was scary. It was basically I feel like it was geared toward anyone who has a fear of drowning or suffocating,
Ugh.
not being able to breathe.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that plays off of that as kind of the
Okay.
central theme of the fear.
Yeah.
The second one was Immaculate with Sydney Sweeney.
Oh my god, I haven't seen that yet. What'd
You
you
haven't
think?
yet? Okay. Yeah, I watched it a couple days ago. I don't yeah, I mean, again, like, I wasn't really that scared by it or
No,
really
it doesn't
shook
look
up in
scary.
any way,
No.
but it
Yeah.
wasn't bad. It was interesting, I mean, the whole just the religion theme that
Sure.
and then I think another kind of an interesting theme that some people are talking about who watched the movie is I think it might be a metaphor about the Roe v. Wade thing and, banning abortion.
Interesting.
If
Okay.
you watch it, you'll kinda see what I mean. It's kind
Okay.
of a narrative about
Huh.
that, I think, in a
Alright.
way.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Okay.
What about you? What did you watch?
Well, I do want to like Sydney Sweeney. I keep trying, and I'm gonna try
Mm,
Immaculate.
okay.
I am continuing on the path of Friday the 13th. I went back and rewatched Friday the 13th Part 3. I, again, hadn't seen
Okay.
it since I saw it in theaters in '82. It was in 3D. It is so dumb,
Oh, no.
but
Okay.
it's also kind of fun. It is the movie where Jason gets his mask.
Oh, okay.
It's how he gets it. There's a victim, and that's where he gets the mask, the hockey
Oh,
mask.
okay, so it's one of the victims' masks,
Yes.
and then he ends up wearing
So,
it going
right.
forward. Okay.
But it was so silly, just knives coming at the screen for no real reason and for the 3D effect. And I remember in '82 when I saw it in theaters, we were just kind of groaning, like, oh, come on. Because the first two we loved as kids. And then the third
Yeah.
one was like, okay, you guys are just doing the same dumb thing, but
Oh,
now in
yeah.
3D. But anyway, I watched it, gave it 3 stars. Still fun, but pretty stupid.
Okay.
All right.
I feel like I'm just not impressed lately with a lot of movies. I don't know why.
I think it's hard to be impressed by movies right now. I
Mhm.
do.
Yeah.
You know what, Natasha? While you're gone on your trip, I will think about potentially great movies for you to watch. I'll come up with a list on Letterbox and share it with it.
Oh,
Share it with
I would love that. And I feel like you have done that though, and I just, like, don't get around to watching them.
you. That's all right.
But I would really appreciate that. Yeah, if you can think of kind of how I think we've talked about, like, Donnie Darko is probably one
Yeah,
of my favorite movies of all
you
time.
love it. Yeah.
Something like that, like, something that's gonna be that good,
Okay.
if we can find
I'll be on the
it'll
lookout and
be
I'll let you
your
know.
challenge. In addition to
Okay.
covering for me while I'm out, you're gonna also have to come
Um,
up with a list of movies.
it'll be great.
Yeah, okay. Alright, well, speaking of work, let's move on to our interview.
Sure.
Yeah, I had a great time chatting with Adam Stewart. He talks about a lot about really how to kind of achieve a balance between digital and human interactions at the credit union, so I thought
Uh-huh.
that was a really good topic,
He
big the
he
challenge.
really sorry to talk over you. I didn't
No,
mean to. We don't practice this part of the podcast, just so you know, everybody. But he really hit on that humanity digital thing
he
in a
did.
way that really, really clicked with me. And I hope
Good.
our listeners will get kind of the same thing out of it. I really liked it.
Right. Well, and also just a little preview of
Mm.
our interview. Let's put it this way, they're trying to do a lot better than Verizon when it comes to a
Boo,
lot making
Verizon.
sure that the member can talk to a person easily right when they want to and not a
Right.
bot, not being trapped with a bot.
Yeah,
So,
stay tuned for that
we'll
story.
stay tuned for that. Also had a lovely conversation with him about his childhood in upstate New York and
Hmm.
also learned what he reaches for when he needs to stress eat at work. I
It was great.
know. So we have all that coming up next.
Hey, listeners. Today's episode is brought to you by Boost AI, the leader in conversational AI for credit unions. Boost AI is your secret weapon for unbeatable member service. Want a sneak peek into the future? Mention the Shared Accounts with CU Times podcast when you talk to Boost AI, and they'll get you a customized demo. That's right, just mention our podcast, Shared Accounts with CU Times, when you talk to Boost AI and get a customized demo. Don't settle for ordinary, experience the extraordinary with Boost AI.
Joining us in the virtual studio today is Adam Stewart, VP of Strategic Growth, Marketing, and Relationship Management at PSECU in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Adam, hey, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
All right, we're happy to have you. Okay, so Adam, we're going to be talking a lot about digital items today, digital strategies for credit unions, digital needs of members, digital banking, and digital investments. So, to start us off here, first, wanted to ask you about your vantage point since you began working at PSECU 4 years ago. I know you've been in the industry for much longer than that. From your vantage point, what has surprised you as far as digital changes that have been happening in the past 4 years?
I would say, and maybe it's not as much of a surprise necessarily, but just something
Mhm.
that's been really on my mind, on our mind, is just the speed of change, just the rapid pace at which digital banking has evolved. And we're a digital first credit union, so it's
Mhm.
very much in our blood, but it's a bit surprising. It's very exciting, especially being in this digital space. Consumers have this appetite for both human and digital interactions. Our research
Mhm.
tells us this, the data tells us this, most things that you read tell you the same thing. So, what used to be nice to haves is really now a necessity. It's table stakes. So,
Yeah.
what
Mhm.
we're seeing is just the level of investment in the digital strategies and the digital tools, the level of investment in research and a strong focus on building those into our budget and strategic plan to make sure that we're delivering on them.
Mhm.
And then I think about just the human interaction versus digital solutions. And again, we have two branches. So we're quite a bit different than most credit unions.
Yeah.
But we still, our members tell us, and we read about it all the time, consumers still value that human interaction. So even with this growing acceptance of digital solutions and preference in a lot of ways as well, there still has to be this balance. And so us continuing to work to find that balance and provide the digital solutions while still not losing that human touch has just been probably more important than ever.
Adam, I'm going to bring up a story later in the conversation about a recent dealing I had with Verizon. To your point, exactly. But I need to ask you about something else first.
Sure.
With being digital first, which I love your credit union. I love what you guys do. I love watching you from afar. But has the topic of AI, speaking of speed and everything moving so rapidly, has the topic of AI been on your radar? If so, how has that been on your mind?
Absolutely, it's been on our radar. I think it's really been on the a topic of mind for all credit unions, banks,
Hmm.
financial institutions, maybe even all business sectors. But for us, and I'll speak a little bit more specifically on the marketing side of things, when we think about content development and what we can
Hmm.
do in the content and creative space, AI can be really instrumental in just enhancing our content development, some of the work with our creative strategies. We've started to use it to personalize some member interactions, whether it's through predictive analytics or just
Yeah.
some of our messaging and the copy that we put together. So we're seeing that really take off. I mean, and with AI too, like most things, it can be used for good, but you have to have the guardrails around it. So just making sure we're very specific in how we handle it, how we use it to make sure that we protect our members, we protect our business strategies.
Hmm.
Maybe another example would be our chatbots and using
Mhm.
them to quickly answer some of the more common member questions. So we have a chat feature. We do
Hmm.
have a team of people that are in there to answer more of the in-depth questions. But when we think about just some of those quick, basic inquiries or transfer requests, using AI to help us in those spaces. And then, like I touched on before, the predictive analytics. And maybe it's not as much on the AI side of things, but just some of the work that we're doing internally to get out in front of things, to try and analyze data and member behavior to help anticipate what they might need next,
Uh-huh.
whether that's a new product or a service, whether that's advice or just some information and some education, even before they need it, or especially once they're getting close to that point of needing it.
Hmm.
So just helping them know that we understand their needs and are doing our part to provide that level of human interaction using some of the tools and resources that this new technology can provide.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Sorry, Michael, I'm curious what this Verizon story is. Did you want to pop that in, or is it going to be up before we move on?
Since we have Adam, okay, very
Yeah.
quickly. I spent about almost 10 days trying to activate a new iPhone. Okay. Their AI would not let me out of their AI. And
Interesting.
I couldn't get a human until I figured out this phrase. After the bot kept asking me, is there anything else, I can do for you? I said, I am on fire and I need help.
Oh,
And,
wow.
and then I got a person.
Wow.
Okay, so that's what it takes. Wow.
It was legit 10 days of this. And I finally figured out,
Wow.
well, wait, what if I just pretend I'm on fire? What happens?
Right.
Wow.
And then I got a
Mm,
human. So I love your take so far in this conversation of digital human, human digital, pairing the
mhm.
two.
It's a great example. I had a similar experience with Verizon.
Mm,
So we switched, this is personal, switched our
sure.
internet provider, same type of thing. Everything was fine. I had a question, could not get to somebody to answer this question because everything through the call queue and the AI side of things, one, it was very much pushing me to handle everything via chat
Yep.
versus calling in. By the time the call was finished, it was well over an hour.
Hmm.
And I found
Yeah.
that to be a bit ridiculous. And then I think about how it applies to the work that we do here. And
Exactly.
it's like everything really. It can be really useful if it's used in the right way and there are the appropriate guide rails in place, if you will, or
Hmm.
it can be potentially cumbersome or harmful to
Yeah.
people
Mhm.
if not. I know the stance that we've taken is being digital first. The ideal goal is to be able to provide products and services and tools and resources for members to self serve, but
Mhm.
not at the expense of human interaction when they need it. And so
Right.
having our contact center and our call center agents ready and waiting to fulfill any request that comes through that channel, having our agents on the back end of chat for when those requests or those questions go beyond just your basic transactions. It's just so necessary and so
Yeah.
important. And then for us too, we do have 900 plus employees. We have people in the field working with our business partners
Mhm.
and with our university partners, for example. In my opinion, there will never be a substitute for human interaction. It's just
Mhm.
leveraging some of the technology and the digital resources to supplement it and make it
Yeah.
more convenient.
Verizon, you've been put on blast.
That's
Yeah, I was gonna
right.
say, don't be
That's
like
right.
Verizon.
I know.
That's an example of what not to do. Okay, well, this what you guys have been talking about kind of goes into my next question. I wanted to dig more into some digital strategy. And this again speaks to finding that balance between technology and human interactions. But Adam, from your position, what are some effective strategies that you've thought about for PSECU or, something that I guess any credit union could adopt for blending these advanced technologies with human interactions? Can you talk a little bit more in detail about what the strategy is for that, making sure they do get to a person when they want to and that they don't get frustrated and, how do you approach that?
The first thing that comes to mind is really what we do with personalized messaging.
Mhm.
So leveraging technology to just create more of that personalized experience. So the offers that I see in digital banking are different than one of my peers, for example, would see in digital banking or family members. Things like birthday greetings and member anniversary
Mhm.
and just life events that happen. And those are really small things, but using those as an example, we've seen such high levels of engagement from our members when we just send an email or a message wishing them happy birthday or celebrating their 10-year anniversary with PSECU, for example. And
Mhm.
those are examples of just how we're using technology to still make that personal connection
Right.
in that digital first environment. So that's probably the first thing that comes to mind.
Sure.
Like I touched on a minute ago, we still do a lot from a community involvement perspective and the partnerships that we have. So even without the physical branches and more of the traditional banking structure, we're ingrained in the communities. We have so many partnerships. We have our pillar organizations that we support, especially focused on children and youth and financial education, and the nonprofits that we partner with, and of course our university partnerships and
Mm.
the state school system
Oh, yeah.
throughout Pennsylvania. That's been really important for us to just, again, offer that financial education, offer those products and services for the younger generation as they're starting quote unquote adulthood.
Hmm.
That's been really important for us and something we invest heavily in.
Right.
The financial education piece too, if I can just speak to that for another minute.
Sure.
Please.
One thing that we've done recently that we're really proud of is, again, focusing on the youth and going beyond just products and services and really making sure that we have educational resources to help them make informed decisions and partner with families and those that are trying to help the youth understand finances, understand what it's going to be like when you get out into the real world. So we partnered with Greenlight, using them as an example last year to provide a digital tool to educate children and families and youth about finances. And we've really seen that grow quite a bit and are looking forward to expanding that even beyond what we've been able to do in this first year. But it just keeps going back to that digital first, being digital first focused, if you will, but not losing the human interactions and making
Right.
sure that it's kind of curated and
Hmm.
personalized to the members.
Right. Absolutely. Well, and education is so important as well, just
Yes.
overall. So, no, that's awesome. Okay, so going back to just kind of what you've been seeing among your memberships. I know you've been at PSECU for 4 years. I'm curious if you've seen, or I guess you could even back up prior to that as well. What kind of changes have you been seeing as far as what does the member need and want from their credit union from a digital perspective? And also, and it was interesting you said you had joined PSECU kind of right when the pandemic hit, and that really
Right.
accelerated the
Right.
importance of digital banking. So I'm wondering if that also maybe played a role in kind of what you've been seeing from the member side. So what would you say about that, just as far as the members' needs and wants and what they're looking for?
Being a bit different than the traditional bank or credit union, we've always had this digital first focus, but it is now table stakes. So
Mhm.
for
Sure.
someone like us, we have to be that much better in the digital space because we don't have the branch network to support.
Hmm.
Now, what we found is, and continue to find, is being in everyone's pocket the way that we are, whether it's a phone or a tablet or whatnot, making that convenient access and just having the financial resources accessible wherever they are has been really rewarding and has brought us
Hmm.
to the point that we're at today with pushing upwards of 600,000 members.
Mhm.
But the demand for not only the digital solutions, but having it more personalized, like I just spoke to, it has to be even more robust and personalized than ever.
Hmm.
You can't just get by with an app that allows you to make transfers. People want to know what their credit score is. They want to see the next best offer based on their individual needs
Right.
and their current relationship or where they're at in their life journey. We also see that younger members adopting these solutions. What we're seeing in that space is they still want the human touch. They want to be able to call in and talk to someone, especially when you think about products like mortgage and home equity or first time home buyer, auto loans, for example. So,
Hmm.
this idea of just being in everyone's pocket,
Mhm.
our digital strategy ensures that we're able to do that, but we just have to be that much better and make sure that we continue to invest in that space to provide just a much more personalized experience. And
Yeah.
then the other things that come to mind too are security and fraud prevention.
Oh,
So
yeah.
as more and more people adopt and engage in these digital solutions, they want to make sure that their information, especially with something as personal as their finances, that it's safe and it's secure and it's not being shared,
Mhm.
in any way that would lead to harm, if you would.
Of
Hmm.
course.
And then just making it easy. I think the ease
Mhm.
of use is so important. So again, having tools to provide to the members and making it convenient is one thing, but convenient goes beyond just a digital banking app. And is it easy to transfer money? Is it easy to accept money? Like, can they get not only the information, but the day-to-day just basic transactions, the money in, money out, if you will,
Yeah.
are we making that easy for them? And that's something that our membership has been very vocal about and just making sure that we invest in those types of solutions for them.
Adam, and this may be a really stupid question, but I'm thinking of new things as you're talking here, and I'm thinking about when you have to make changes digitally. How do you tackle those changes? And apparently it's be a larger strategic discussion, but
Yeah.
when something has to happen, how do you tackle those changes?
It all starts with member feedback.
Okay.
We find it very, very important. Almost the most important thing is to not try and answer the questions for our members, but
Hmm.
get their feedback, listen to them, gather the feedback through focus groups, through our employee and member insights, through our financial community, and then build solutions based on their wants and needs versus what we think they might want and need. I mean, we're in this all day, every day, and
Yeah.
behind the scenes. So, yes, we want to develop solutions, but we want to do so in a way that meets the needs and delivers based on the feedback that we're receiving from our members. So, by gathering all of this feedback from various sources, it then helps inform our strategies as to what we want to prioritize when it
Yeah.
comes to strategic
Mhm.
planning or different initiatives. It also helps us stay relevant too. It's one thing, we talk a lot about certainly growth and driving in new members and new loans and new deposits, but it's so important to make sure that you're paying attention to your existing members and continuing to deliver and nurture those relationships. So, how have their needs changed? What type of feedback are they giving us, whether they've been here for 3 months, 3 years, or 30 years? And then again, strategizing, especially from the digital perspective, what we're going to invest in and how we're going to deliver those new solutions in that space.
Mhm.
Great. It does sound like a digital democracy almost, the way
Yeah.
you're wanting that feedback.
Right. It's so important. We work so hard and we'll continue. We can still do so much more to try and gather as much member feedback as possible. We exist for our members, we exist because of our members.
Hmm.
And so making sure that we get that feedback and those insights to then help us really develop the strategy and develop where we're going to put our time, money, and resources, it's invaluable.
Fantastic.
Right. Okay, Adam, let's look to the future here for a minute. Obviously, lots of changes happening at a rapid pace all the time. And for you, just being so heavily involved in the space, do you have any thoughts or predictions of your own about where digital banking is going to go? I know that's kind of a big question, but
Mhm. Yeah.
someone
I
asks you, well, what is mobile banking going to look like in 5 years? Like, do you have any thoughts on that? Or is it just, let's see what
I'm
happens?
No, I'll start kind of really broad. There are always these conversations around open banking and what that will look like in the
Hmm.
future. Again, I
Mhm.
think that really comes back to just accessibility and convenience and being able to move money all over in a really hopefully safe, convenient way.
Right.
We're very confident in our digital first approach. We believe that that is still the future of banking, but it's still this blend of convenience and digital with the human element and the personalization. And it doesn't have to
Mhm.
be personalization necessarily in a conversation, but just making sure that the solutions are tailored to the human in a more personalized way. I do think we're going to see more integration of AI to an extent, but at what scale, I'm not really sure. I think, again, you just have to be really careful in the way that you're
Hmm.
using
Of
this.
course.
And for something, when you're talking about a person's finances, it doesn't get
Mhm.
much more personal than that. So you have to be really diligent in
Mhm.
making sure that using AI as an example, that you have the right structure in place and governance in place around that. I think of things like the digital wallet. And again, something we focus very heavily on is just self service. So if somebody wants to dispute a charge, if somebody digital card
Yeah.
provisioning, for example, instead of having to wait for a card in the mail. These are becoming more and more table stakes. In the past, they were something that, if somebody did that well, that was really great. And especially that could support things on the branch network side of things. But just giving accessible, convenient ways of being able to do business and kind of manage day to day life for our members. I see that being a really big part of the future of digital banking.
Right.
Things like digital document delivery. I think, a lot of
Yep.
people getting everything via electronic means at this point.
Right.
And then just continuing to just design our products and our experiences around this digital first approach, but with kind of human centric elements to it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be, again, not something that's just a nice to have going forward, but table stakes.
I think you said that very well in the empowerment side. We do like the power the digital gives us, but we also don't want to be left alone when we need some help.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
And so that's a tough one, like parenting a difficult child, maybe. I don't know.
Good example. Yes.
Or having to read their
Yeah,
mind, when do you want help, when do you not help, but no, hopefully they'll
exactly.
tell you,
There it
Right.
is.
hopefully they'll communicate that.
Yeah,
I actually had just a follow-up question about, you've talked about AI a little bit here, and talking about how it has to be done responsibly and all that. I'm just curious, at PSECU, do you have like a AI policy in place around ethics and responsibility? Kind of when you look at that, and what are some of the things that you want to avoid with AI and like make sure that this doesn't happen? I'm just curious a little more about that.
Yeah, and I unfortunately I can't speak to too many specifics. One, because there's a lot smarter people in our IT space
Mhm.
that handle a lot of this stuff. But it's really just having the governance
Right.
around it and making sure that anything that helps us from a predictive standpoint, that helps us, I used marketing as an example and just some of our copy that we write. Those are safer
yeah,
approaches and much more
Right.
guide rails, excuse me, around them versus we obviously have a lot of member data and that
Mhm.
that could be very, very risky. So we don't ever want to
Mhm.
do anything that would put that at risk. And
mhm,
so, like you were just touching on, having policies, making sure that employees don't have access to things they should not have access to, and just making sure that that's very clearly articulated across the board. And we only use solutions that would benefit our members. And if there's any sort of concern, that it goes through the appropriate channels and vetting. But I know it's a pretty vague answer. That would be more geared towards our IT security team, who does
sure.
an absolutely incredible job of vetting everything and making
Mhm.
sure that
Right.
we have policies, procedures, tools, technology in place that allow us to do some really great things while keeping member data and security at the absolute top priority of how we handle things from a business perspective here.
Just the fact that PSECU just has some AI guidelines and has some documentation, a lot of credit unions
Yes.
don't. So
Yes.
Yikes.
it's
Yes.
just nice to
Mm.
hear that you have that in place.
Right. Well, and we're all in such early
Yeah.
stages with this anyway, so
Yeah.
you can't know
Right.
everything, and we'll have to just kind of see how it unfolds and take it one day at a time,
Yeah,
so.
it's one of those things you can't ignore it. I mean, I guess you
Mhm.
can. We choose not to ignore it and just try and use it as appropriately as possible. And I feel confident in saying we're still scratching the surface on this. I know there are
Mhm.
other institutions that are
Yeah.
using it in much more robust ways. We just want to make sure that we do our due diligence and only use it in a way that's going to be at the benefit of our members and not create any unnecessary risk. It's too unknown
Oh,
still.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have you back for that discussion too. You know.
All right, sounds
Yeah.
great.
Well,
I'll bring a friend with me
oh,
for that
okay, great.
Yeah. Okay, so Adam, just one more topic we wanted to hit on here before we move into the second part of our interview, and that's digital investments. So, I guess that could refer to investing in just new technology, working with different vendors, investing in their products. I know there's also other investments happening, like investing in fintechs and fintech CUSOs and things like that. So, kind of a broad topic, but do you have any thoughts about how credit unions should be thinking about investing in future digital technology?
I think a lot of it goes back to what I touched on before, and that's just investing with the members' needs in mind.
Mhm.
So there is no shortage of those that want to partner with banks and credit unions to provide the latest and greatest solution, but it
Mhm.
really should be centered around the member experience and what your members are asking for and what prospective members are looking for. And so for us, around enhanced convenience, enhanced security, just that personalized touch, those are things that we always want to explore and look at investing in. The other thing that comes to mind is just scalability and flexibility. So, some of these partnerships, some of this new technology really allows you to scale and be more flexible than ever before, create
Right.
a much bigger ecosystem when you think about digital solutions and, in our case, a digital first model. So, it allows us to grow and adapt more quickly, but doing your due diligence and having really robust practices in place to just vet who you're going to be partnering with is so important, because what might seem great on the surface, once you really dig into it, could not be the solution that you were initially intending it to be. And going back to just our last conversation, the security and the compliance piece, you can't overlook the importance an impact of like cybersecurity and getting that wrong. And so just making sure we invest in the top security measures, protecting our member data, making sure we're in compliance, and we're heavily regulated, as you're aware, so that we do our due diligence in that space too. But having our security audits, just prioritizing security. And that really goes back to research and investing with our members' needs. The research that we do and that we see through some of our partners that we work with, data security, and we'll call it like money security, if you will, is
Sure.
still, if not the top, in the top 2 or 3 as far as pieces of feedback from members and prospective members when looking at what's most important to them.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And so it's just something you can't get wrong, you can't take lightly, and it's very expensive. But when you think about being in business for 90 years, and there are so many credit unions that have been around for such a long period of time, and kind of the roots of people helping people, you can't afford to make a mistake on this, and it's worth every penny of investment.
Sure.
Can you even imagine? So the credit union's been around 90 years. Think about when a smartphone's going to be around for 90 years.
I
What
know.
the
I
heck
know.
is that world?
That will be interesting.
I know, going back to that first question, really just the rate of change and the
Yeah.
speed. It wasn't that long ago when social media wasn't really a thing, when iPhones weren't a thing, when you had to pay 10 cents to text, and you were still,
Yeah.
having to tap on your phone. I mean, texting now, I mean, does anybody even call anymore in a lot of cases
No.
too, from a cell phone perspective? I mean,
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
it just changes so rapidly, and we're just starting that. I mean, we're
We are.
within the first like 20 years of this wave. So who knows what the next 20 years, and to your point, the next 90 years. Cars are driving themselves already. It's amazing. It's fun.
It is fun. I agree with
Yeah.
that.
Except then it makes us feel old when we, see an article like, "Oh, my Gen Z kid,
Yeah.
was like, what does the phone symbol mean? Like, what is I don't
Oh, I
understand that,"
know.
or, things like yeah, it's definitely fascinating.
Yeah. It's fun.
Getting the long cord in your house to be able to walk out into
Yeah.
another room to have the conversation. I was joking with someone about that the other day.
Yeah. Clotheslining your brother when they come
Oh, I
through.
know. It's amazing how quickly things change.
Yeah. Technology is fun until it involves Verizon.
Yeah, again, this is
That's right.
That's
That's
on
right.
me. Okay.
Right.
We should probably move on.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on. So let's move into the final segment of the interview, and these questions, Adam, are all about you. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I hope I'm ready.
Okay. Okay, so first question, where did you grow up? What's your hometown?
I grew up in Jamestown, New York. It's a small city just south of Buffalo, New York. So I have a lot of family,
Okay.
Western New York. I have a lot of family in Buffalo. I still have a lot of
Okay.
family in Jamestown, but that's where I'm originally from. Then I went to school in Erie, Pennsylvania at Mercyhurst University.
There you
And that's
go.
where I met my wife, who is from the Harrisburg area.
Nice.
Okay.
And here I am.
So you are no stranger to having lots and lots of snow. I've never been to that part of New York. I've only been to New York City, but just some of the pictures I saw the last couple of winters were just insane. So
Oh, in
I'm
Buffalo.
curious,
Yes.
was that how it was growing up, or is it worse now?
No, it was very much the same. I always tell people it's tough to articulate or kind of highlight lake effect snow until you've seen it and lived in it, and just the massive amounts of snow that can dump in just a short period of time. And it's funny. So I live in Harrisburg now, and it's not that far from
Yeah.
where I grew up and where I spent the first portion of my life. But when it's a couple inches of snow here, everything shuts down, schools close. I mean, you had to get feet when I was growing up
Yeah.
for anything to change. And driving was not an issue.
Right.
No one was hesitant to drive. It's just
Yeah.
very different here. So you grow up being very used to it, had so much fun sledding and skiing and
Nice.
just
Yeah.
witnessing lake effect snow. But yeah, it's very different here. I can't say that I miss it that much because
Right.
it's a lot of shoveling or snow blowing, but it is
Sure.
really pretty when
Oh,
when
yeah.
it's happening, and when it just doesn't it takes forever to melt. It never gets that warm up there. So
Mm.
Right.
when it's May and it's still melting from being piled up in parking lots of places, it's like, all right, it's time
Get
to
out of here
change
already.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
That
Yeah.
happens
right.
here in Wisconsin too. Adam, besides yourself, who's the most famous person from Harrisburg, from your hometown?
From
Oh, I'm
Harrisburg.
sorry. From your hometown. I'm sorry.
Oh, from my hometown, besides myself, right?
Besides yourself.
Yeah.
Goodness. I guess the first one that comes to mind is Lucille Ball.
Really? Oh, I
Oh,
didn't know she was
So
yeah.
yeah,
Huh.
Lucille Ball is from there. And then Roger Goodell is from Jamestown as well.
eh, eh.
The NFL. I know. I know. I mean, he's famous. It doesn't mean you have to
Yes,
like him. He's
that
famous.
is true.
I think most would say Lucille Ball.
Oh, that's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Well,
love
we
that
love
Yeah.
answer.
yeah, no, she was a classic. I haven't in a while, but yeah, I used to love watching the I Love Lucy reruns. So fun.
Yes.
Okay, next question, it's kind of a random question. What is your, like, go-to comfort food or snack? Say when you're really stressed out with your job or something.
I know. Wow, that's a really good question. Probably just go to because it's quick too, peanuts.
Yeah?
Oh,
Like,
Okay.
I know that's kind of random and maybe a bit
makes sense.
different, but peanuts because I can just take a handful and I don't know, eat a few peanuts and keep myself moving. Yeah, that's probably my go-to. I
Okay.
probably have now that I'm thinking through this, this might be a problem. I probably eat peanuts of primarily peanuts. I don't mind. I like most nuts, I guess, but peanuts every day in some way, shape, or form.
Nice.
Oh,
Well,
Might be a problem. I might have to look into that
no,
now that
no.
I'm
Hey,
saying
well,
this
hey,
out
it's health
loud.
it's healthier than peanut M&Ms because 'cause you're not eating chocolate with
That's
it.
true. That's true.
I worked at a credit union office a while back, and it was just a giant container of peanut M&Ms just sitting there that people would just
Oh,
take
yeah.
from all
So
day.
dangerous.
Yeah.
So dangerous. You know what, though? Now that I'm saying this too, I can hear Cliff, our VP of IT, being like, no way. So can I have two? Can I add a
Yeah,
second one to
absolutely.
this?
please.
Cheez-Its.
Oh, yeah, those are a good one, yeah.
I get made fun of like crazy at work because my lunch usually consists of like Cheez-Its, whether it's just Cheez-Its or I'm mixing in Cheez-Its to whatever else I'm eating. So I have two go-tos and neither one of them are the greatest thing for you.
No, it's fine. Didn't Cheez-Its have like a special quesadilla at Taco Bell or something?
They did, yeah, they did. I never tried that. I like just your traditional
Just
Cheez-It. I don't mind the white cheddar ones from time to
sure,
time
Yeah.
to change it up, but I don't need like
sure.
Taco Bell Cheez-It style things. That's too much for me.
Adam, it's the longest discussion on this pod we've had about Cheez-Its, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm a Cheez-Its fan.
I love
They're
them.
great.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
usually pick when they come around on the airplane with the basket, I always go for the
Yeah,
Cheez-Its, so, yeah.
yeah.
take two. Adam, in elementary school, what was your favorite grade?
Oh, good question. Probably fourth.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, fourth grade. I feel like you got to do a lot outside. Like there was
Yeah.
enough happening. I like to be outside. I like sports and doing activities, sports related stuff. And I feel like we did
Yeah.
a lot of that. And it was, at least in New York, I know here where I live now, middle school starts in sixth grade. Where I grew up, it started in fifth grade. And so it was right before you got to middle school. So you were kind of really developing some of your core group of friends. And then
Yeah.
thankfully, at least in my case, I was able to attend middle school with them. And then everything funneled into a much bigger high school. But
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
from an elementary school standpoint, fourth grade was fun. And what's interesting about that is I switched schools that year. Like it was a
Hmm.
brand new school. I had gone to another school from K through 3 and switched, and I still really enjoyed that change.
Wow.
Great
Impressive you
answer.
can have that good of a memory of all your elementaries, because I was thinking, like, how would I answer that
Yeah.
question? Like, okay, also going back to your childhood, teen years, what was the first album that you ever bought? Or if not necessarily bought, but remember listening to all the time, and it was like your first favorite album?
Man, this is so sad. I won't
Oh.
even want to tell my wife this, although she probably knows. I think it's probably like Ace of Base or something
Oh,
like that.
okay. Hey, no, I'm
That
with you on
seems to
that.
ring a bell. Like, I can
Yes.
remember getting
Yes.
that and being excited. I don't even know how
Sure.
old I was, but
I
I
saw the
just remember
signs. Yeah.
yes,
Oh,
yeah.
yep, yep.
I would
Oh,
say I would
yes.
say Ace of Base. Man,
That
that's really random. These are some interesting questions.
It was 94,
Yeah.
95, right in there.
Yes.
well,
Oh,
I would have to say that I'm very excited, and whenever we ask
it's a
the
great
guests this
song.
question, Michael usually is the one because he's more of a music guy. Like I'm not really big music person, but he's always
Mhm.
like, "Oh, whoever they answer." But this is the first time where I've been like, "Yes, Ace of Base." That was one of
You
my
know it.
first too. Yeah, in like seventh grade, I think it was one of the
Yeah.
first CDs I had.
All
Yes.
right,
Okay,
Adam.
sorry, move on.
One more question about you. What was the last movie you watched?
Inside Out 2 with my daughters was the last
Oh,
movie that I watched. And that was the first time
And
I had been to the theater in a while too. But yeah, that was,
okay,
I don't watch a ton of movies for
okay.
whatever reason, except for with our daughters. So yeah, Inside Out 2 was the most recent one. I liked it better than the first one too.
Okay.
And I'm very much looking forward to Moana 2. I'm
Oh,
very much looking
all
forward to
right.
Moana
Great.
2.
Awesome. Okay. All right. And then just finally, before we close out here, where can people connect with you and find you for our listeners who might want to reach out to you after hearing this podcast?
So you can connect with me on LinkedIn. That's probably the best
Okay.
case. I can certainly, I don't know how we would do it. I can share my email, but LinkedIn is probably the best way to connect with me.
Mhm.
I'm on less work related, more personal related on Instagram and some of the social media channels, but LinkedIn would probably be the best way. My email too, I'll just share it here, is astewart@psecu.com,
Okay.
but those would probably be the two best ways.
Makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Great. Great. Thanks for that. Okay. Well, Adam Stewart, VP of Strategic Growth, Marketing, and Relationship Management for PSECU. Thank you so much for joining us today. This was a lot of fun getting to know you a little
Thanks,
bit. Yeah.
Adam.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
This is great.
And for our listeners, please subscribe to Shared Accounts with CU Times anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, wherever. You know how this works. And if you want to rate us, we'd love your feedback. And for those of you with questions or comments, feel free to email me over at nchillingarian@cutimes.com, or you can email Michael at mogden@cutimes.com.
Also, a big thank you to Boost AI for sponsoring the podcast this month. Transform your operations while you're members and leave your competitors in the dust. Boost AI, because ordinary is just not good enough. Thank you so much to our producer, Zach Nyheisel. Thanks, Zach. Join us again next week for a new episode of Shared Accounts with CU Times. Until then, thanks for listening.